So we live in Spain, 300 plus days of sunshine a year, and yet there are less solar installations on the roofs of villas here than you might actually expect. With the recent increases in the cost of utilities and the questions on the reliability of supply due to not only political but also environmental reasons, more and more people are taking the plunge, and so have we. So we've made two short videos explaining, number one, this one, why we've made the choice to install solar, and in number two, that we'll record in the future, was it worth it? Our sort of experiences, our thoughts, the costs, the savings, and what it's like living with solar after maybe a couple of months. I'll record the second video, as I said, in a few months' time, once we've familiarised ourselves with the system and its operation, and we have a better idea of the savings, etc. So in this week's episode of 2 Minute Tuesday, I'm going to explain our choices to go energy independent. So welcome to episode 133 of 2 Minute Tuesday, where we go solar. Now, as we're all aware, in 2022, it's partly going to be remembered as the year that the cost of living crisis hit. A combination of factors meant that the costs of especially gas, oil and electricity went through the roof. And we were shocked to see the reality of these cost increases as they hit, and they continue to do so. So in late spring of this year, 2022, we decided that due to the price hikes, as well as environmental concerns, that we would seriously look into solar as a form of powering not only our home, but also our offices as well. Now, before anybody sort of comments, we are aware that solar is not truly green in its manufacture and its ultimate disposal, but it does offer a long-term solution to the carbon-based energy production and to counteract the costs as they're going up at the moment. Now, we met with many companies, and we sometimes ended up as confused when we finished our meetings with them as we began at the very start of the process. Solar itself is not really an easy topic to understand. There are lots of very strange and unfamiliar jargon and technical specifications to untangle, and we had to sort the wheat from the chaff with regard to the good and bad installers, as we had lots of contradictory information. One thing that we were very sure of was that we wanted independence from the grid if needed, and we wanted to sort of future-proof our installation. Now, we wanted to generate all of our electricity and only really dip into the grid if needed on, say, the rare occasion when the weather wasn't playing ball, or let's say our usage exceeded our production capacity. Selling electricity back to the grid was less of a priority, as the funds generated from selling back to the grid are minimal, to say the best. However, we wanted to buy the technology today that will stand the test of time, and this is important because this is a major capital investment. Now, as I said, we had many companies come to visit. Some were even promoting the virtues of the old-fashioned lead-acid batteries, which is old, very old technology. And some of the companies that came to visit us really just gave us the impression that they were the new double glazing salesman who'd moved on to the new sort of get-rich scheme. However, over time and with questioning of these companies, we became more and more knowledgeable. And following an online seminar, I made contact with a Swedish solar company with offices based here in Alicante. Now, they sent along a chap who turned up on time as appointed, and he answered all of our increasingly knowledgeable and probing questions in great detail. He was very friendly and he had a very professional approach, and this was the only company who actually took the time to go up onto the roof and measure the space available to see how many panels we could accommodate in order to generate the electricity in the first place. Now, this representative, he talked us through the best options available for us, but he also allayed one of our sort of biggest fears, and that's with solar being turned off during a power cut. Now, this is in order to protect the line workers. If you're pumping electricity back into the grid and there's a breakage, they will cut the electricity to the solar, because if the guys are working on the power lines and you're pumping electricity back in, it's not great. The representative informed us of a solution in terms of a switch that disconnects us from the grid at the moment that the grid goes down. Now, this switch isn't very cheap, however, it does mean that we can be connected at all times. The company proceeded to tell us about the best options in terms of storage for the batteries and the inverter and things like that. And at this point, we were more than satisfied with the services that we'd received, and the costs, although they're not the cheapest, they were competitive, and we were ready to sign up. So the next step was a few town hall planning documents. This is for the installation of the solar panels on the roof, a small building to house the solar batteries and the inverter. We paid all the fees at the town hall, and we were set an expected installation date of September 2022. However, the company contacted us and moved the date forward to July 2022, which we were actually quite happy with, because it meant that we were going to get the benefit of the sun during the peak months of sort of July and August, when the sun is out all day and it's in the mid-30s. We received an email one afternoon, unexpected email from the installation company saying that they would be with us the following morning with the installation team. Came as a bit of a shock because our builder wasn't booked for a couple of weeks later to build the small storage building. But hey ho, we said yes. And on the installation day, the following day, the installers arrived. They were from a separate, they were from a subcontractor from the company that we paid to build the system. But they specialised in the installation of hybrid systems. 3 guys arrived, and they worked from 9 in the morning through till 7 o'clock in the evening, and the installation was finished. They were neat, professional, and very efficient. Now, as I mentioned, we had to have a small solar shed built, as it's not really advisable to have all the electrical equipment and 15 kilowatts of lithium-ion batteries inside the property. So there's a short video I'm going to put up now, which will just show you the equipment that's needed to convert the power generated by the very visible solar panels that you have on your roof. But then this is the equipment that you need back of house in order to use the electricity or store the electricity itself. Right, so we've also had to have a solar house constructed to store all of the equipment in. So on the left here we have the batteries. So this is a 15 kilowatt battery supply, and it's by Huawei. And next across, and this provides all the electricity overnight. So when the sun is down, this has been charged up to 100%. So we then have 15 kilowatts of usable energy to use through the evening or periods when we're not generating. This here is the inverter. So this here converts the power supplied by the solar panels, and it converts it into electricity that can be used in the property. And then here we have what's called the switch, and this is the thing that's, or the backup box, that disconnects us from the main. So in the event of a power cut or things like this, we then can still continue to have electricity in the property. Otherwise, and now on the screen, hopefully you can see the installation of the panels on the roof itself. Now, due to the orientation of our villa and the roof spaces available, we had 2 optimum spaces that we chose to give us a nice even spread of power generation from dawn till dusk. So our sort of power band is a nice arced power band throughout the day, rather than a sort of a peaked band that you would have if you had all of the panels on one particular roof. So this is the reasoning behind why and when. To date, we're generating almost 99% of our daily usage, which is great, and the equipment is running well and it's performing well as expected. However, you may have noticed that throughout this video, I have never at one point mentioned the name of the company who sold and installed the system. Now, for those of you who watch 2 Minute Tuesday on a regular basis, you'll know that we like to sing the praises of good, trustworthy companies whenever possible, when they provide a good service. Well, in this instance, I'm not prepared to do so. At the time of recording, we've several unresolved issues with the company, and we're currently awaiting a site visit with them to resolve these. And believe me that we've given them every opportunity to resolve these problems. And so in the next update, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you know how we get on with the system, but also how we've got on with the company themselves. And trust me, if we don't get the customer service that we expected, having spent a considerable amount of money on the future-proof system that we've had installed, we will let you know. The equipment is fine. It's working brilliantly. The company are a disaster. If there is anybody out there considering having solar fitted and want to know the name of the company we have used before they commit to signing a contract with them, please feel free to get in touch. And I'm happy to let you know the good, the bad and the ugly as far as this company is concerned. The equipment, as I've said before, we're 100% happy with it. The company, 1 out of 10 so far. So hold tight for next month or so to allow us to get a little bit more data and experience, and we'll post a full follow-up regarding the system and the company that we chose to use for the installation. And that's it. It's slightly different 2 Minute Tuesday this week, but I think as we move forward into the future, more and more people are going to be looking at renewable energy sources, and solar, I think, is a prime one. And if we can give anybody the benefit of what we've learned through our journey of having solar installed, then obviously we're happy to pass on that knowledge. So please feel free to get in touch if it's something that you're looking for. I'm no expert, but we can give you the benefits of our knowledge. So that's it for this week's episode. Next week or the next 2 weeks, we'll be back with a new episode. But until then, have a great day. My details are on the screen at the moment. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions. But until the next episode, adios.